Okay, so in this video, we're going to look at making a crate in Paint 3D. If you're not familiar with Paint 3D or haven't watched the other videos, Paint 3D is a free-to-use 3D modeling program made by Microsoft, and it's included with Windows 10. So let's go ahead and click on New. And two things you're going to see me do for navigation. One is 3D View, and we click on 3D View, you get precisely that. And when you're in the 3D view, if you click on Options and then View Control, you'll see how to navigate in the 3D view. So I'm not going to keep saying every time I click on a button. I think that'd get kind of monotonous. So if you want, just keep that open when you're working in Paint 3D. All right, so let's go back to 2D view. We click on 3D shapes. And for the most part, we're going to use the cube object to make the planks of the crate, but we'll make a couple by hand. That way we can put in cracks and things like that. So let's go ahead and click on the 3D object, left click, drag, and that's good. And before we go any further, we click on 3D view as I mentioned, right click to rotate, click on one of the dots on the edges to scale it in, push this up against the canvas. And one of the great things about this view is when the dots turn gray, you should basically be centered. Okay. Centered on the canvas, that is. All right, so what we're going to do now is we copy, we paste, we left click on the tool at the top here, we rotate this 90 degrees and it snaps in at 90. And what we're going to do is we're going to position this behind the board, the vertical board that is. So right now it's even with it, so we need to push it behind it just a little bit. See in this corner here is what I'm looking at. Just rotate all around, check it from all angles, make sure it looks right. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to flip around. That way you can see the board, because if we go from the side we were originally looking at, the board is behind the canvas now. You can hide the canvas if you want, but I find it useful. So now we're just going to copy this one, paste it. I'm going to hold Shift and move along the axis. Copy, paste, hold Shift. Paste. Paste. Oops. Didn't work that time. Okay, so we can either try to fit one more board there, or we can just scale this down. So let's just scale it down. So we'll click, scale it. Actually, I should have stayed on the other side so I could see. Scale this down a little bit, and a little bit extra is fine. Now what we're going to do, so we're going to copy this one and paste it. Okay, so that looks about right. So, a couple things you can do. We're going to remove one of these boards and draw one by hand because, as I said, we don't want them all to look the same. So let's scroll in, we'll left click on this one, delete it. And you could say, well, why put it there in the first place? Well, to keep the proportions right, we needed to know how large of a space we wanted. So we're going to click on 3D Doodle, the sharp edge, and you only click where you want the direction to change. So we left click, left click, left click. And what we're going to do is we're going to now break this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to come all the way back here, click, click, click. So you try to make like a sharp break. And we don't have to go all the way back for that one. And then you have to come back to the original point. So now you have a broken board. This one just has to be resized like the other ones. And again, we're just kind of eyeballing it. It doesn't have to be exact. Okay, and now we're going to rotate from the side to see if that's lined up with the other ones. Obviously, it's too high up, so we need that to come down. I think that looks good. Looking at it from all angles. Slide it over a little bit, I suppose. And we could make the board slightly bigger. All right, so now you have a side that you can just copy and repeat. And what we'll probably do is we'll get rid of this board on some of the other sides and maybe make another custom board so as it doesn't look exactly the same from all sides. So just left click, select all, copy, paste. We'll rotate that one 90 degrees. It snaps, it clicks into place at 90. And trying to think what the best way to line this up would be. I guess having the two boards like that. And again, copy, paste, rotate, again, 90 degrees, snaps into place. And then copy, paste, rotate, snaps at 90. And let's see how that looks. So just rotate around. Okay, so we don't have a bottom, so we need to do that as well. So let's copy, paste. That one has to be rotated this way. How does that look? Looks good. And don't worry about putting too much time into something that, if you're using this for, say, game design, or even if you're using this for something that's not interactive, if people aren't going to see something, don't spend the time putting effort into it if it's literally not going to be seen, because you're kind of just wasting resources at that point. Time, expense, whatever else. Having said that, if you don't do something, make sure that you're really not going to need it. So, all right, so it's not spectacular, but that's okay. It's just meant to be introductory of how you can do this. So we have the same broken board on all sides. So what we're going to do, let's get rid of this one. And we'll just make a different broken board. So again, we'll click on our 3D doodle. Let's go back to 2D view. And actually, maybe we can't because we're flipped on the other side. So left click, and this one will make more like a knot hole. And again, I'm only clicking when the direction changes. Okay. So looks like we can shrink that in a little bit more. Can scale this a little bit if you want. Scale it over. All right, see how that looks. Sticking out a bit. There we go. And that should do it. You can just keep going on like that, adding different variations. And it doesn't have to be the same board. You could switch these boards' positions so it's not the same board that is broken on each side. But I think that's good for one tutorial. So let's go ahead and we're going to go to Menu, Export File, 3D FBX, and this will be Crate 0408, save. And we save the project. Crate 0408. Okay, now we go to Unity. So here's Unity. And if you watch the other videos, those are the other models we've made so far. Just scrolling out. In fact, zooming out works the same way with the scroll wheel. Just move this over. Go to our 3D folder. There's the crate. Just drag and drop it in. Put our crate into our scene. And again, it's way too small. It doesn't scale well. So, well, I shouldn't say it doesn't scale well. The default scaling is wrong, is really what I should say. And just make that to whatever size works for your project. And there you go. There's our crate. So you can just grab the crate object and there you go. And now that it's in Unity, you could always apply like a wood texture to it. I already have other videos about applying textures and materials on the channel, so I won't go into that now because I'm really just focusing on the Paint 3D aspect, but it's that easy to bring your objects into Unity. All right, so that should do it for this one.